Hi, I'm Code Queen Nayeli,
And I'm Aaliyah from Aaliyah.rocks.
and she's my mini-me. She just wanted to help me out with an introduction to this video before you take a look. So, two things. One, I changed something. There's something different about my glasses. The first person to guess it and comment it, here, let me get closer, below in the comments is actually going to get one free consultation with me. And two, thank you for subscribing if you've already subscribed. If you haven't, please click the subscribe button, click the thumbs up button. And as soon as my channel gets to 500 subscribers, I will be raffling off one free website. Just a tiny one, but it's free. So, what do you need to do to find out when that's going to happen? Subscribe. As soon as it gets to 500, I'll announce it. I'll either announce it here right before a video, or I'll announce it in my forum on my website. So, go to www.webixdesigns.com. That's WEBIX designs with an S.com. Hi, Code Queen Nayeli. So, I owe you two videos actually. I do. One of them is the preloader video, and I will upload that one soon. I've been very busy coding and breaking my head. And so there's a story behind this video. I was actually trying to figure out a different code, and then somehow this one came to be because, one thing led to another, and I just figured, oh, this is definitely the flow that I need to get this code working for the site, and I ended up with this. So here it is before I forget to upload it and create it for you. You're going to learn how to do like a wish list. I called it a wish list because, well, that's what people have been asking for. Like, you click something, it saves it somewhere. So because we had done a previous video where you do a private member login, that'll kind of play a part with this. People are going to be on a website. They're going to click on an item that they like, something that they like. It'll save that item into their own filtered sheet, and well, you can let your imagination take over from there and see what you can use the code for. So let's dive right in. This is the example website. It's the tutorial website that I created. I know, it's so fancy, right? I totally did not do that. That's actually a Wix template. Isn't it awesome? I mean, those guys, they really know what they're doing. Of course, I tweaked it here and there, but this is basically a template. I picked whichever one. I like the color blue. Blue's my favorite. And then it had this little kind of greenish teal color, and it kind of matched my logo. So, that's why I picked this one. So let's make a wish list. Here you will see just kind of like a quick overview. It was just to fill it with information, really, and you know that I never worry about design when I do my videos. You will basically be doing three things in this video, and these three things will lead to part 2. So there will be another video where we will learn a little bit more advanced stuff on how to continue this wish list kind of flow. So the first step that we're going to do in this video will be create a database with some items. You should already know how to do that. I even jotted them down for you there. It'll be a name, a description, an image, a price, maybe a URL. I couldn't think of anything else, so I put that. Remember to pause the video if you need time, and watch the other YouTube videos if you don't know how to create a database with items. They're all out there. I promise I'll make them shorter, I will. So anyway, create the database with the items. It gives you a little information here on what the permissions should look like in order for this tutorial to work. After you're done creating your database, then you're going to create one dynamic page, which will be for your dynamic items. We're going to add some items to the database that you created, and then this one page will display every single item. Then after that, you will need one regular page to view these little favorites that people added to their wish list. So I know that you're probably thinking you need another dynamic page because it's for one person and they're the only ones that are going to be on that page. Well, I'm actually going to show you a different way of accomplishing that. So now you're just going to have to watch the video, right? You thought your answers were going to be right there. Sorry. Okay, let's go to the editor. Here's the editor. This is the website. On the home page, I left everything else the way that it was. The only thing that I did for now is I added a login button here in the front page. And I put, want to test it, log in below. So that way people know, hey, log in before you go anywhere else, because you have to be logged in order for this to work. So here's the member login button. If you don't know where to get that from, go to the side menu, click on Add. You will see a button that says More. And then you will see the member login. Drag and drop. I already have it on there. I'm not going to add another one. And that's how you get your member login button. You can design it however way you want. Click on it. There's a little thingy. What is that called? Paintbrush, of course. Okay, so design it any way that you want. So we said we needed to make the database first, right? Mine are already made because at this current time, you cannot delete or edit a database or a database name. I'm not going to make another one because then I'll just have extras on my site. Create one. You don't have to use this name that I have here. You can use a different name that you want, but I'm going to create a database for my items, so I'm going to name it item. There it is. Once you create the database, and if you don't know where, you hover on top of the word database, there's a little plus sign, click plus, and that's it. Choose a name and click continue. Once you create the database, a blank page will come up. There will be no information here. And just to make sure that we have the settings correct, click on the little settings icon, edit permissions, and we're just going to review them. For this tutorial video, you need the settings to be this way. If you choose to use your wish list code for something else or for a different flow, we'll just change it and make sure that it is correct. This is where you change that. So for this one, we're going to do anyone can read the content from the collection, anyone can create it, and only an admin can update it after it's in the database. Somebody from the back end will log in and update it, and an admin can delete the content. So click save and it'll save the new settings. And on here, let me move my picture. You will need to create a few fields. Remember we said we were going to do 5. Title is going to be there. It'll always be there. We're going to skip that one. I'm not going to use it for this tutorial. You can use it if you don't want to skip that field. I know mine already has all the fields here, but if you're on a blank database, click on the little plus sign and start adding them. I'm not going to go into too much detail of how to do that, but I will let you know what each one is. So here's the name, description, the image, and the type is an image. When you select the type of field that it is. A price, this one I just put it as a text, and a URL. I also just put it as a text because I don't want to go through the whole verification thing, the HTTP and all that stuff. So that's the database that we created. Now that we have the database, let's go back to the home page. Click on the X over here to make this go away. There we go. We created the database for items. Well, let's go create a page for the items. The items will be displayed one at a time on a dynamic page. But to get to the dynamic page, we need to put them somewhere else. We need to display them either in a gallery or a table so that people can go look through the items, click on one, and then they'll be redirected to the dynamic page. So let's do that. Let's just do like our linking from the page to the dynamic. So here's the items. Very simple. I put a text that says all items and I inserted a table. Where did I get the table? From the add user elements. Make sure that you are using these. And then all the way at the bottom, you select the table that you want and start editing the design by clicking on the paintbrush. Yes. So this is all you need. Now that we have the label and the table, we're going to add a data set because it needs to be connected to the database that you created over there. So you go back to add, go to database, click on data set, here's the little plus sign, and then it should appear somewhere on your screen. Doesn't matter where it appears, it won't be visible on the published page. So here's the data set. I changed it, I labeled it favorites. How did I change it? I clicked on it, and over here the ID name is where I changed it. You don't have to change it if you don't want to. Just know that favorites is this data set, just in case we need to use it anywhere else on the site or in the code. Once we added the data set, you connect the table, click on the little database icon, move this away from my face, and don't know if you guys noticed, if you have been using Wix code, you will see some tiny little updates in this section. If you have not been using Wix code, well then forget I mentioned it. At the very top, you select the data set that you're going to connect it to. This case, we only have one on this page, so we're going to connect it to that one, all items. Then you're going to start, after you connect it to all items, this will populate with anything that's already inside of that database that you created. So we had the image, the name, the description, the ID, did not do the ID. That is the ID page. That's the dynamic page. There's the price and the URL. That was confusing. So anyway, all of these will populate. You'll have them here, and then next to them, you'll have to click on the link button so that way this can pop out. Because whenever they click on that cell in that column or that row, it'll go somewhere. Well, we want it to go to the dynamic page. Guess we should have done the dynamic page first, right? Oh well. Okay, so then go back here and connect it to the dynamic page. I labeled my dynamic page item. There it is. How to create the dynamic page? A couple of ways. You can either go up here, add a page, go here to the menu, go to database, click on add a dynamic page data set, and then connect everything that way. Or you can skip all that, hover right on top of your item, go over the little settings icon, and click add a dynamic page, and it'll add it for you. Not only will it add the page for you, it'll also add the very first data set, which is a dynamic data set. So now that, pretend I've already clicked it, because I already did. Click this. Let me go to the dynamic page that was created. So this is a dynamic page. This is the item page. As soon as you click add, a blank page will appear. Start designing it the way that you like. For this tutorial, since we had created 5 different types of fields, we need to add those elements onto the page. Let me move this data set out of the way. The 5 elements are this image. I added an image for my image field, a text for my price, it says price goes here, another one for my name, another separate one for the description, make sure that they're separate. I added two buttons here. One is called View Wishlist and the other is called Add to Wishlist. Because in my code, supposedly, we'll see if it works, when you click a button, it hides one and the other one is visible. Well, I linked the Add to Wishlist to the actual code itself. That's why this little database icon is not green. And this one, I actually linked it to the wish list page. That way that button goes away and then they'll see the view wish list, and then so they can click on that and be directed to the other page that we created. This one at the bottom is another button. These are all the elements that we had on the database, so now you start connecting them, connecting them to the data set. How do you connect them? Well, this dynamic data set should have automatically been populated somewhere on the page. Find it, it'll be there. And since this is here, right now we'll check the settings. When you select an item, you hover on top of the Connect to Database, and then you select the data set that's on your page. Items, I labeled it Items Details. And then you start selecting it from the drop-down. What do you want it to connect to? To the name, or the description, or the price, or the image, or the URL. So you start connecting them. Let's take a look at this data set. Manage data set. Even though it was automatically populated for us, you always want to check the settings just in case. So see, it's already connected to the item. There you go, item, where my database is. There you go. And you can label the data set whatever you like. It's just so you can remember what it was. I have it set to read only. No one's going to be editing any information from the item itself. They're just going to read it, so it'll be displayed on the page. And then here, this is that new thing I was talking about. This was not here before, and they've added it. So now you can actually display an X amount of items. So I tried to put 1 million, didn't work. So 10,000 it is. Close that out. And if you notice, there's a little faded little sentence here. It says, success, item has been added to your wish list. Let me click on that. I'm going to click on Tools, activate my Properties panel. Here's the Properties panel. If you notice, it says Hidden on Load. Well, I hid it because when somebody lands on this page, I want it to be hidden until they click this button, then I want it to appear. So I've coded that in too. We'll take a look at the code. We will. So this is what's going to happen. Before we take a look at the code, let's go take a look at that wish list page. So once they click on the View Wish List, or they can go to the menu and click on My Wish List, they'll be redirected over here to a regular page. I think I forgot to mention before that the View Items was a regular page as well. How do you know that they are regular pages? Up here in the Site Structure menu, which, by the way, if you don't see this little side panel, go all the way to the bottom. There's an arrow to the side. Click on it. It opens and closes your side panel. Isn't that cool? All right, enough of that. So the pages. It says here, Pages, Home, My Wish List, View Items. These are all regular pages. On the bottom of that, you'll start seeing dynamic pages. You can have 1, 10, 20, 30, how many ever dynamic pages you have. They will be listed there. So let's check out My Wish List. Here it is. And on this regular page, I have it almost exactly identical to the View Items page. It has a title at the top that says My Favorites, a table where it's going to display the favorites. When they click on the row from that table and click on that item, it'll redirect them right back to the same dynamic page where we were at. Pretty cool, right? I know. And at the very top, I just decided to add another member login button. You can have as many member login buttons as you want. I simply added it there because if they are logged in, which they should be in order to see their favorites, it'll say, welcome, your name, log out. This is a regular page, but it does have a data set because I do have items or one item that I want to connect it to. So remember where we got the data set from, click Add, go to Database, and click on the data set. So here's my data set. I label this one favorites. I'm going to click on manage so we can read it. This one is connected to wishlist, and wishlist is another database that we created. Apparently, I don't know how to talk today. I guess I must be way too excited about this video. It's the second database that we created, so it'll store the information that we're clicking for this wishlist database. The name of the data set, I just put wishlist for member. It is on read only. They're only going to click, nothing else. And I just put it to 1,000. So closing that. Now let's go over here. Pay very close attention. If you need to, pause the video right now and prepare yourself. I'm just kidding. No, it's very easy. So we're going to add another database. So go over here, click the add button, and add another database. Name it whatever you like. For this video, I named it item. Wishlist, named it wishlist. We already did item. So when you have your wish list, clicking on the right one this time, notice I just have one thing on there. I'm going to need two things actually, but one of them is hidden. So the first thing that I need is a wish list item, and I'm going to show you how to add that in just a moment. And the second one that I need, if you click on above where it says visible fields, click that, and then you're going to see with the check mark all of the fields that are, visible, the ones that you've added. All the other ones are automatically added by Wix. They're added to your database. They're there. They exist. You just can't see them. You have to physically go in here, check them off, and then they will be available for you to view out here on the dashboard. So the one that we're going to need is the owner. We don't really need it. I don't need to see it because it'll just have a bunch of jibber jabber, see, all that fancy stuff. But if you want to see it, it's there. We will be using that in the code. The code will actually go into your Wix information and pull the owner info, so that way when we do filter the wishlist items to the wishlist page, it'll know who the owner is, so that way it pulls out the correct information. So that's how that works. So this other field, very, very special one. When you click the add button, select a name for your field. It can be anything you want. We'll be using it to reference the actual item inside of the code. And under field type, it's actually going to be a new one that you probably have not seen. This one, if you click on it and you see the drop down, above the word text, you will actually see another word that says reference. So if you click on reference, it'll now give you another drop-down option. Reference what? So something from this field is going to be referenced from this other collection, which is my other database, the items. So something from the wish list item, the element, the field, the key that we see here, will be pulling information from your other database, which is the item database. So this is where you select that and click add. And that's it. It'll get this information from the other database and it'll sync them together. Oh, you're going to see how cool it is right now. I know you're excited, but wait until you see it in action. I'm going to click cancel because I don't need to. That will totally mess up my code. Now, let's go to the wish list page. Here's the wish list. Going to open it up. Oh my gosh, there's no code. Why? I'll tell you why. This wish list, when you click on the settings, click on edit permissions, there's no code to filter anything here. I haven't showed you how to filter anything on top. This is where the filtering comes from, the permissions from that database. The wish list database can be created by any member, but the only person that can read it is the author, the person that actually created the entry into the database. And only the author can update it after that. Okay, so all of this is going to filter all of this. How you connect your table? Well, first, you have to add a data set. Plus button, add, database, data set. Okay, well, you know how to do that. After you add a data set, find it on your page, and you're going to click Manage so we can configure the settings. You're going to connect it to the wish list collection, the brand new one that you just made, the one that has one item in there. Yeah. As soon as you connect it, label it whatever you like. Set it as read only. Nobody needs to change anything. We're just viewing information for now. Hint, hint, for now. And I just put it to 1,000 items to display. Once you have a data set on the page, and the only thing on the page that you have is your table, click on the table, click on the database icon, connect it, and click on settings. Whenever somebody clicks on anything, I want it to select the row. Click on manage. When you click on manage, you can change the names of these little titles right here by clicking edit label, and you edit the label. If you're on manage, you can also click on manage connections, or when you initially connect it through over here, you can actually manage the connections to the database. So this data set is connected to the wish list, right? I labeled it wish list for member. That's why it says that there and says that here. And then here you should have had one thing populate over here. I have a lot of them, and if you're wondering why would I have a picture, a name, a price, and a description if the data set I'm connected to is connected to the wish list database? And in the wish list database, I only put one thing. But that one thing that I put, do you remember the setting that it was? What type? It was a reference. So I'm syncing data from one database to another through that reference. So I got all of these because I clicked Add Column, and then I selected Items to Add. A title, see all fields. Title, there's the name, there's the description, there's the image, there's all of the different kinds. You just start picking the ones that you want to sync, and it starts adding it here. Then you click on the link. Oops, I unlinked it. You click on the little link, and then this pops up. What do you want this column to connect to? Well, I want it to connect to my dynamic page, which will display all the info for this product or for this item. So I'm going to select this one, item ID. So I'm going to go down the list and connect every single one to that one. That's where I want all of them to go. When they click there, it'll take them right back to that page. There is no code on this page. There's definitely no code on the home page. So where does all the action happen? In the dynamic page, where the item is. They're going to be viewing the item. They're going to be clicking on a button, and it's going to do something. So let's pop this up. Ta-da! That's it. That is the entire code that does this whole wish list function. It takes the item that a person is currently viewing, and it sends it to the other database. So when they click on their other page, they can see all the items that they sent to that database. That's it. So it says on ready, if the Wix user, the current user, is actually logged in, that one button will actually be labeled sign in to save. Or else that one button, the Add to Wish List button, will actually be labeled Add to Wish List. So if they're signed in, it'll say backwards. It's actually backwards. Isn't it backwards? Let me see. If the user is logged in, I want it to say sign in to... Yeah, it's definitely backwards. Let's change that right now. Did I do it on purpose? Guess you'll never know. Add to wish list. Or else it'll say sign in to save. You can literally label it whatever you want. This is where you change the label. Then the export function. When they click on it, it'll do several things. So, because there's an on-click event, make sure you set the button up for the on-click event. So select your button. If you don't have the Properties panel open, go to the Tools, go down to the Properties panel. Here it is. And then down here, find on-click. Click the little Add button, and then add the name that you want. Because down here, the on-click will do certain things. It says it's going to go into the Wix data and insert into your database, which is wish list. There's the word wish list. That is what you would replace with your database name. It's going to insert something in the wish list database collection. And your field item that it's going to insert it into, which was the referenced field item, I labeled mine wishlist_item. How do you know what you labeled yours? Well, go to your database. Mine is wishlist. Wishlist item, click on the ... go down to Manage Properties. Field key, wishlist_item. That is what you will enter here. Wishlist_item. Okay? Then it's hashtag item details. This will be your data set. My data set was called item details because I wanted to remember that I was getting the details for that specific item. And then once it goes into that data set, it's going to get the current ID for that item that the person is looking at. This is why it's a dynamic page. That person is looking at one thing right now, and that one ID is going to be pulled from that data set, put into the wish list item field inside of my wish list collections. Isn't that cool? You just read that. You read code. And on top of that, it's going to do a few other things, which I just added it at the bottom. My success message is going to show. You can keep or delete. I'm just giving you ideas of what can be there. Anyway, so this is the code. All the extra stuff, well, it's basically that, extra. If you want to add extra stuff after the whole inserting of the item into the other collections, you can. You just, edit those 3 lines or how many ever other lines you have. Let's check it out. Okay. Let me hit publish one more time because I don't know if I changed anything or not. I can't remember at this point. Let's view the site. So, want to test it now? Let's log in. Click login. Let's create test@test.com. And then the password will be test123, test123. And go. Oh, okay, so I've kind of already tested it. So let's do test 100. And password is test123, test123. Okay, so I'm already logged in. How do I know? Because it says, hello, test 100. And now I'm going to go check out some items. So now I'm inside of the items page. This one looks interesting. I'm going to click on that. Now it redirected me to the dynamic page, reading the information. This is kind of expensive, so I kind of don't want to buy it right now. But I will add it to my wish list. So I will click the button and it says, hey, success, my item has been added to the wish list. gonna go visit my wish list to see if that's true, because I don't know. It could not be true. And there it is. I have one item in my wish list. So let's go back and do it again. I'm gonna go back to that same item. Takes me to the dynamic page. Gonna click on Add to Wish List. Success, it's been added. Let me go back to view the items. I'm gonna click on this camera. $40, not bad. Adding it to wish list. Success, great. So now let's go see my wish list. Ah, look at that. It added this one 2 times because I added it 2 times. I clicked on the button 2 times. I didn't mean to add it 2 times. But for this tutorial, I did mean to add it twice. And then I have the camera. So if I wanted to go back to those items, I click on it, and it takes me right back to the dynamic page. Voila. Amazing, right? Definitely amazing. I know a lot of people will come up with really creative ways to implement this on their website using a little bit of Wix code. At the very bottom of the page, somewhere in the footer, I'll go ahead and add a link to the code. I'll create a light box that'll pop up and just copy and paste it so that way you can add it to your site. So look out for that link. And there will be another video. Can you guess why? Oh yeah, I'm going to show you how to remove or prevent those duplicated items, because we don't want, you know, Mary, quite contrary, to add those cookies or whatever they are 100 times, because then they'll appear 100 times in her wish list. So I'm going to show you how to add that code and implement that. And who knows, maybe I might add a little extra thing or two. But to find out, you're going to have to subscribe. So click thumbs up if this video helped you. And if you do click thumbs up, well, it'll help me, because it'll help my videos reach more worldwide users and enthusiasts of Wix code. And if you hit subscribe on the YouTube video or from my tutorial site up here, click on the YouTube button and it'll subscribe you. You will get notified when I release other videos. Don't worry, I'm not gonna send out too many, just 1 or 2 once a week or something like that, so you have enough time to practice and add it to your website. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comments? Questions? You're welcome. Bye.